Coming up the same. Connection has timed out. Please try again. Right, one last time. And then, are you in my Steve Rowlands online demonstration on copy times? This meeting is being dry live streamed. Right, okay. Now my phone's playing.
Steve Rowlands, trance healer and medium spirit divine. Is that the one you're on?
No, but you're in my new group now because I can't Right, there we are. We're live on Facebook in my new group. The one that you're on. Okay. All right. Oh, hang on. I've made a bit of everything. I've forgotten to do this. Right. Well, please excuse me. First it said it wasn't, then it was. Oh, come. Right, and that's better. All right, here we go. Welcome to Coffee Time, folks. I don't know if anybody else is going to turn up apart from myself and Stacy Sparke, but we've been having a good chat, so we're going to be continuing that. Welcome to Coffee Time, everybody. I would like to introduce to you all the lovely Stacy Sparke. For those who don't know you, please describe what you do with spirit, and we will take it from there.
Okay. My name's Stacy Sparke. Well, Stacy Sparke, but my trade name is Sparkles because I like to show sparkles everywhere. I've worked with spirit since I was born, really. I was one of the lucky ones where I saw spirit as a child, questioned spirit as a child, knew they weren't solid form. My mum took me to the spiritualist church from the age of 7, so I was quite lucky. I've always had this connection with spirit. Obviously, as I grew up and became a late teen, I investigated more, started to push my boundaries on what I was capable of doing and how I was able to give messages to people. But I like to work on the mediumistic side and the psychic side because for me, life on earth is far more important than talking to our dead relatives. So I like to give people information on where their life's headed, solutions to problems, things that are going to come up, because I strongly believe that forewarned is forearmed. We can always prepare ourselves for certain things that are going to happen in life, because you can't avoid them, can you, Stephen?
No, you can't.
You know, I when you go into shock, when you find out certain information, you go into shock. You're not capable of making the right decisions. So I'm here to say, hey, you know, this is around the corner, and prepare yourself, and, you know, try and get through it as smoothly as possible. So as much as I love connecting with spirit, I use my gifts to work with the people on the earth, and I work very closely with my guides who help me give information to people about their daily life. So yeah, but although I do love speaking with people that only concentrate on spirit, you know, you know, it's great that that's their focal point. We've all got different things that we bring to the table. For me, I desperately wanted to focus on all the different psychic abilities to enable and help people.
That's lovely. I think, all right, a lot of people just think like I'm a medium. I speak to dead people. You know, but I think the psychic is very much a part of that mediumship. because spirit are using psychic energy to communicate. So
Yeah.
whatever you come out with, whether it's from granddad or my guides are telling me that you tripped over your doormat this morning, you know, it's still psychic. It's still mediumship. Or if your dad, I've got your dad coming through here and he said that you tripped over your doormat this morning.
Yeah.
Yes, people can consider that mediumistic, and it proves that he was there. But it's all psychic, and I just don't. I wish people would climb down from poo-pooing psychic, because
I
without
do.
psychic, our loved ones can't communicate, our spirit guides can't communicate, our angels can't communicate.
Exactly. The psychics, we use all our senses. We
Yeah,
use I use all my senses to give a message. So I use my third eye, you know, to use my third eye and read people and read the illnesses and help them heal, help them. I see their mental issues. I see traumas. I see, and it's about healing. This world is broken. We are broken, all of us. We've all got fractures. But what I like about, I don't know if it's the Japanese or the Chinese, they say every time there's a fracture, they in a vase, they paint it with gold, you know?
yeah,
And that's what we have to do. We have to heal from our traumas, our cracks. And I often joke to people, I've had so many breaks. I'm like the golden goddess now. I'm completely painted
yeah.
in gold. But it's, if we're sent here to help others in any shape or form, whether that is working in a nursing home, whether that is, working in a hospital, whether that's working as a healer, as a psychic, as a medium, if we are here to help others help themselves. So we can only reach, we'll meet you halfway. But you as people need to meet us halfway and say, yeah, I mean, look at me. Look, I know, Stephen, that I would be better off, healthier, if I drank more water. Yeah. My doctor can say to me, Stacy, you need to drink more water. But unless it's me that has to make that decision to drink that water. So I think I can give advice to people on what they should do in their life, but whether they take that advice and go with it to improve their lifestyle, that's I've given the message. Now it's up to you to run with it, run with that advice and apply it in your life.
I think that's an important point, Stacey, because it's only given as advice. Spirit can only advise. Um, we can only advise from the energies that we're experiencing to pass on that information, because as my guides have told me, they don't want to breach the natural law of free will. You know what I mean? So we can say this spirit could say through me, this is best for you, that's best for you, stop doing this, stop doing that. But it's entirely up to the person, whether they do or they don't. You
Yeah,
know, and then you get people coming back, well, spirit told me this and spirit told me that. And then you say, well, did you do this and did you do that? What spirit said? And they go, no. I said, well, that's why you're still in the situation that you're in.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And
yeah,
what was I going to say? I can only go from my own experience with spirit, because what a lot of people don't realise is, and I think they don't realise, but we have lived it.
yeah,
You know, everything we talk about or going to talk about, we have lived it. So, so that we can talk from experience.
yeah,
And I remember back in the beginning of 2011, I was in a very bad place, drinking too much, smoking too much, and not really doing a lot spiritually at all. I was doing 6 services then for 2 churches, and Spirit said, "We want you to come back and work with us." Great, yeah, it was like a light bulb, yay, like that. But they also said you have to practice what you preach,
yeah,
and you have to cut back on your drinking, and we want you to give up smoking.
yeah,
All right. So eventually, I gave up smoking, and I've cut my drinking down to 1 bottle of wine a week, which I think is reasonable. All right, we meet halfway on that one, me and Spirit. It's better than it's minuscule amounts of what I was drinking, and I have put into practice what the teachings of Spirit and what I tell other people to do. And my life has progressed exponentially from there because I put the work in. And as you say, Stacey, you have to put the work in.
Yeah, most definitely.
Oh, yeah, Sarah, you know. Um, so we, as channels for Spirit, and I think the psychic is a level, a level of energy within the realms of spirit, within the realms of God, whatever we want to call it, that allows communication to take place. And we can only give it as advice. And you hit on one important point there, Stacey. It is to bring healing, no matter what we do.
Yeah, it is.
Whether I'm giving a message from a granddad, or you're giving a message from a guide, or you can see an illness or whatever, or a mental health issue or whatever, we are there to heal. We are there to uplift. And this sort of brings, and that's the whole point of it, not to show how clever you are with five clairs, all right, because there are higher senses than that. And another important point that you raised is that you use your whole self.
Yeah.
Okay, all of your senses, because I'm often, when I do teach, I always tell people that come for that teaching to use their whole self.
Yep.
Because spirit are learning to communicate with us as much as we're learning to communicate with them.
Yeah.
We can't dictate how they're going to communicate with us, especially if it's a new communicator. So they're finding the easiest way through our psyche, for want of a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
Okay. But this leads me to, I didn't tell you this before, did I, Stacey? But this leads me to my next bit. Okay. As mediums, as psychic, or whatever we call ourselves, because there's so many different things people are calling themselves these days. All right. But as a channel, all right, me and you are both channels. Let's simplify it.
Yeah.
I've been contemplating the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. And Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. All right. And I've got it up here on the wall. All right. And I've been trying to get 2 students of mine to give me inspired address about it. Yes, I do teach how to do addresses. It's not all about evidence. All right. Because there's healing in that address. Sorry, Stacey, I'm going on.
No, that's fine.
But what I want to say is, as channels for spirit, or especially new channels for spirit that have just started their development pathway, do you think we decide what we're going to be instruments of? But first off, we must be instruments of love, mustn't we?
Absolutely. The universe is run on love.
Yeah, the whole fabric of the universe is
Yep.
love. As far as I understand it,
it is.
As you're aware, Stacey, love comes in many different levels.
Yeah.
So that also means serving on many different levels.
Yeah.
And that also means, like your point earlier, using your whole self. You know, whether you're on a platform or you're doing a private reading, or whether you see an old lady frightened to cross the road.
Yeah.
It's all service.
Yeah.
It's just that if you help that old lady across the road, or you give somebody directions, that's just as much good as what you're doing on the platform or doing in a private reading. It's all part of that service. We shouldn't differentiate between what's good and bad as long as it's done in love.
Exactly. So, if your intention is pure, which I set about my day with the purest of intention. My family get upset with me because I will stop and talk to strangers, like an old lady, not necessarily an old lady, any age lady or gentleman. I will make a conversation because I've already, as I'm approaching them, I've read their need for communication. Yeah. So I will approach people, I will start a conversation, and very quickly you become aware of what that need is, those reassuring words, that little gesture of kindness, because they will then go on their day a little bit happier, a little bit of hope that we're, all humans are not out for themselves. There are people out there that want to help. So everybody that I come in contact with, I come with the intention of how can I help you in the smallest of conversations. And I think if everybody took that attitude of, walking past people in the street that are struggling, someone who's dropped to carry a bag and their stuff's gone everywhere, bend down and help our fellow humans.
And I think that's a great message. I think that's what Spirit's been teaching us since time immemorial. I noticed that kind of thing in my job, Meals on Wheels.
Yeah.
Okay, I think, Meals on Wheels, but we get 3 hours to deliver, say, 40 meals. Right, so you got to go to the clappers, but a lot of the people we visit to give them their meals or to plate their meals for them or whatever, they're lonely.
Yeah.
They're intensely lonely because apart from a carer that might come in, we're the only people they see, because their family, for one reason or another, don't visit them once in a blue moon. You know what I mean? If at all. So I call it the 1 minute, 10-minute chat. All right. I go into their home and I'm talking the whole time, but I listen as well. I think the great art of communication is to listen.
Yeah.
And if they say, because part of it is a well-being check, to make sure that they're all right. And I do as much talking with them, have as much conversation with them as I can for the time that I'm there, because that'll be the only conversation they will have that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel so sorry for them because they're trying to hold you there, they're trying to keep you there, and
you think
you
as
want
well.
to stay there, but you can't because of the time restriction. But anyway, yeah, go
No.
on.
I was just saying, you think as well, these people have lived their lives, they've gone through so many struggles. And at the end of it, I mean, isn't that sad that your friends and family no longer visit you? If we all put effort in to even like cousins, go if you haven't got brothers or sisters, but you've got cousins that are not well, go and visit them. Go and visit your friends. Go and visit your friends' parents. It's all about communication and connection. That connection should be of love. I mean, I was at the chemist yesterday and there was this beautiful old man. He was on sticks and he was picking up bandages for his leg. And I assume he had ulcers or something. And he had lifted his trouser leg to show the nurse why he needed the bandage, right? But then the trouser leg wouldn't go down. So I bent down and I pulled it gently and put it back in place. And he went, "Oh, thank you, sweetheart. I didn't want to have to walk home with that on show." And I was like, "You're very welcome, love." I mean, that's what I mean. The smallest, which, what effort did that take from me? Nothing. And how did that make him feel? So being in the now, being aware of everyone around you and who needs the smallest act of kindness that's how we should all be living.
And that is in line with the teachings of Spirit. That is in line with the universe.
Yeah.
It's how we interact with the universe, whatever we want to call it, God, the universe, source, whatever. I could think of little instances like an old lady, a slipper had fallen off and her foot was cold and she said, "Can you put your slipper on for me?" I did. And it was like I'd given her the world. Or there's another guy, an alcoholic with dementia and Parkinson's, and he couldn't do his jacket up because he was shaking so much. I just done his jacket up for him. Little things like that mean a lot. Just as much as giving somebody a super accurate message that proves survival, that proves that they tripped over the doormat, and that somebody there from Spirit was watching them, and all the rest of it. And this leads me, because everybody knows I go on about teachers of silver birch, right? Okay, here he goes again, silver birch. But silver birch said when asked if Silver Birch could teach them how to be a clairvoyant, how to be a psychic. Silver Birch replied, I cannot teach you that, but what I can teach you is to love your brother as you would love yourself, and to seek to serve and uplift wherever you can. And the punchline is that is the highest phase of mediumship.
Yeah.
And that is what we should be teaching when we go out on the platform, when we're doing live. We'll get onto live in a minute. All right. So I know Stacy sort of spraining a little bit to talk about lives. All right. So am I actually. But to serve and uplift is the highest phase of mediumship. And I think that's what brings us all together as spiritualists or spiritual people. You don't always have to go to a spiritualist church to be a spiritualist or just a spiritually aware person. This is what Spirit have been teaching since time immemorial. Is that
Yeah.
highest phase of leadership? Because what I say to congregations when I mention that one excerpt from Silver Birches, it makes us all mediums.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
and it's not just sort of like me saying, I've got a granddad there with you, and he smoked tobacco, and he used to spit it out into a spittoon. Oh, yes, lovely evidence. Oh, great, you're fantastic. You're amazing. All right. But granddad is also saying, that you're in a narcissistic relationship and you need to move away from it. By a psychic, really. Granddad's still saying it.
Yeah.
He's letting you know that he's here and he's giving you evidence of his survival. Now he wants to put his 2 pence in, And that to me is just as much mediumship as proving his survival. But mediumship is about service to others and learning and growing and evolving through that service. Because there are times we don't feel like being particularly nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've got a problem ourselves, or we don't feel well for whatever reason. Okay, and then we find somewhere in need, and that is the test in life, isn't it, Stacey?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
right. Yeah, you're not waking up and going, right, I'm going to be a really good person today, and I'm going to love everybody, and I'm going to take notice and talk to everybody. And if they need a little bit of help, I'm going to give it. We don't wake up like that every morning. All
No,
right.
no,
You
we
know,
have to put effort in some mornings to go,
that's right. Yeah,
take it.
yeah, definitely. And then life will come along, or our teachers will come along and say, right, you feel like rubbish. All right, we're going to put somebody on your path that really needs a little bit of help, a little bit of kindness, a little bit of love. Can you rise above feeling like you do to
Yeah,
help? And that is the learning of life to me.
no, you're right. You're right. It was a massive learning that I wasn't aware of before my NDE. And I've only lived this lifestyle for 5 years. Before that, before my coma and NDE, I was still a psychic, I was still a medium, but I wasn't aware that the universe ran on love. I wasn't aware that these small acts of kindness were going a long way. I wasn't aware that my days when I was feeling short tempered and that would affect other people. And it was only through the NDE. And are you okay to talk about this?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You know, when I became aware of spirit when I was in a coma and they showed me my life like on a film, and I felt everything. Everything. I watched every scenario that I'd ever been in, and I felt the pain and hurt I'd caused others. And it was a realignment in my heart for showing me that my actions had a knock-on effect, and some were pretty bad. What the pain that I'd caused others through my actions were awful. And so when I woke up from the coma, having been shown all this information and felt all this pain, but at the same time being washed with this immense intense love from spirit, which in itself was so healing. It was like, okay, I think I was truly sorry. And because I was truly sorry for what I'd caused, spirit gave me the best healing. I mean, that wash of love, it literally washed away all the negativity, all the pain and suffering that I'd been through. And I was filled to the brim with this golden love that spirit worked with. So when
Yeah.
I woke up, my whole attitude to life had changed. My whole attitude to people had changed. I became very aware of my words, and I used them wisely, you know, because I knew the fundamental effect that it would have on people. I sought out people that I'd hurt and upset and apologized and asked for forgiveness. That's how upset I was by how I had hurt them. So I sought out that forgiveness for those people. They didn't understand, you know, it'd been years for some of them. And I'm like, oh, do you remember when this happened? You know, I just wanted to take this opportunity to say, I'm truly sorry and will you forgive me? And that helped my healing as well as their healing.
Of course, yeah, it's their healing as well with that forgiveness. You know, it's a lot of people think that the lessons are just for self, but the lessons are there for everybody that's involved in that. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Which leads me on. I wish I'd invited Chris on actually because he knows more about this stuff than I do. You probably know a lot more about this stuff than I do. But you know, as spirit, as soul, we come to Earth, and then whether we die and we go into spirit permanently, or like yourself, have a near death experience. And I think in a lot of ways, a near death experience is like a reset, isn't it?
it is
Like a dark
absolutely.
night. Yeah, like a dark night. So what he or she's going on, right? We've got to reset them to sort of like show them what life actually is.
Yeah,
And you know, with you experiencing like the NDE I watched this morning, experiencing every interaction and how people felt during that interaction from ourselves, that is where the spirit soul learning comes in, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
You know, and that leads me on to soul contracts because past 3 or 4 weeks people have been talking to me about soul contracts. And you know, as we know, we come from a place of divine unconditional love that we can't put into words.
no,
I see you there trying hard to describe it, but you can't.
you can't, you
Possible.
can't.
You know.
It
And,
is nigh on impossible. The way I explain it to people is if you imagine like you've got a life partner here, you know, you're married, you're truly blissfully happy. Yeah. And you could feel that love that you've got for that person could fill a teacup. But to you, that teacup is the biggest, best love that there ever could be possible. Now go and tip that teacup of love into an ocean because the love from spirit, oh, it truly is. When people say, oh, you know, it's a drop in the ocean, it truly is. It truly is. The love you can feel on earth is such a watered down comparison to the love in spirit. And until we can like, you know, the empathy, we can empathize with people, can't we? You know, if they've broken a leg, we can go, oh yeah, I can imagine how that feels. But you don't actually know how it feels unless you've broken that leg, right? You are never going to know the true strength of the love of spirit unless you have popped back in an NDE from spirit and you've been given that love. You can imagine it, try to imagine it, but you're going to get nowhere near it unless you experience it. And I am one of the few people on this earth that have had the pleasure of that divine love. And I wish spirit would allow more people to feel that divine love, Stephen, because for me, it's given me a new sense of purpose of how the universe works and how we should all be interacting with each other and how we should all be treating each other. And I think the bloody world needs a restart. I
I
really
do.
do.
I don't want to sound like Nostradamus or one of these prediction sayers, all right, but I think the world's heading for that.
There are
You know,
more people being awakened now to
yeah,
the
I
life
agree.
of spirit. More and more people, and it feels like a wave. This new wave is coming in, yeah, which is fantastic because it needs it. But what we need is a tsunami. We don't need a wave. We need a tsunami of love from spirit. We need far more people to be awoke to this purpose in our life, why we're here. Yes, we've got to experience tragedy and pain in order to grow as a soul. And that's why we're actually here in the first place, to experience different things, different, jobs, different lifestyles. We're here to learn and grow. But ultimately, we are here to love each other, not kill each other, not
Exactly.
beat each other down physically or emotionally. We're not here to abuse anything or anyone. I feel like I'm on a soapbox now. I
No,
just
no,
want I
no.
want to go out and shake people and go, seriously, you're wasting your life living it as you are. You open your mind, open your heart to the universe and how it's working, and you will live a much more enriched life. Okay, we can all go around with our chin down, looking at our feet in life. No, raise your head up, stand tall, and be the best version of yourself, and help everybody that you come into contact with. I'll shut up, Stephen, because I'll just go on and on about it.
No, but I've got you on to talk, Stacey. I didn't want it to be just me rattling on. I invite people on like yourself, so people just don't get my point of view all the time. You know what I mean? Okay. But yeah, we are all mediums of the spirit
Yeah,
of God, that unconditional love, like Silverbirch said, and I think that's very important to express that. I get that opportunity to do that when I'm giving addresses from spirit. You have your opportunities to do it through your work. But I think it's a very, very important message. Yeah, because when I first came into spiritualism, that's what attracted me to it. Was that life is a learning process. There's no right or wrong. We're learning from it, whatever we experience. We have free will, we have choice, you know. And the great lesson is to be a medium of a spirit, to balance negative with positive. I could go on and on like yourself, okay. But I think getting back, here we go. Right, right. I'll say with a nervous laugh. Um, I think spiritualism's lost its way in all that, because when I first started going, the Sunday services were just as busy as the mediumship services, where you'd listen to address, we would talk about the address afterwards, or we would question the medium about the address if there's bits of it we didn't understand. And the Sunday services were just as busy as the mediumship ones. I notice that in churches when I go around, the mediumship, when you're just giving purely messages, they're a lot busier than the Sunday services when you lose time to give messages because you're giving an inspired address. And I think we've lost something there.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah, go on.
The older generation are obviously passing over to spirit, right? So the older generations were raised in a very religious setting, okay? Everybody had to, not had to, but a lot of families were in some form of religion, whether that's Catholic, Protestant, Church of England. Everybody was raised under the heading of God and godliness. Spiritualism, I feel, hasn't got the. We don't need an altar, okay? We don't need to have sacrifices. Men and women should not be sacrificed in the name of God, So for me, you can call God whatever you want to call him, right? Being in the near-death experience, I understood that religion was a man-made thing to control people,
exactly.
to
Yeah,
scare them.
exactly.
Now, from what I've learned from spirit is there is no control, there is no fear, there is only love. Okay, so if it brings you comfort to call something the higher source, God or Jehovah or whatever, yeah, whatever you want to name him, they don't care. If it brings you comfort, they don't care. But take religion out of the mix, right? Let's rename religion love. Okay, let's call it love. That's the new religion. That's where we're supposed to be. That's who we're supposed to worship. God, the love of mankind, the love of the universe, the love of the plants and the animals. So if you go to a divine service, you're still craving that comfort in God. If we scrap the name God and replace it with love, I think far more people would turn up because they wouldn't feel threatened or felt controlled. They would have
Yeah,
that free will to say, you know what, I'm going to go to this building because I don't even want to, churches are beautiful to the eye. They are stunningly beautiful. Okay. But they are just altars for
yeah,
like, so we're going to go to a building and we're going to practice love, loving each other, showing that there's evidence beyond this physical life, giving evidence and hope and love to other people within that building. I feel that far more people would turn up to these buildings if that was to be the case. The word religion scares people in this
yeah,
day and age.
yeah. I mean, I agree with your points there. I mean, a lot of people are turned away from spiritualism because it's considered as a religion.
Yeah,
Only the last week I've seen 3 or 4 mediums describing it as a religion. It's not a religion. The
no,
best
it's a way
way
of love.
spiritualism had to become a religion, had to align itself with the Christian church
Yeah,
or charitable status.
yeah,
That's it. And where I agree about the altar with the cross on and things like that, I didn't like it when the SNU got rid of the cross. For the simple fact that I was brought, well, my parents weren't particularly religious people. They went through the motions. We'd turn up right at christenings and weddings and funerals, and that was it. You weren't in there every Sunday. All right. So I went through that process, but a lot of people are turned off because they see it as a religion. And to me, religion is where a multitude of people or a group of people or thousands of people, millions of people will follow the same path of belief, of faith. To me, spiritualism and the medium of the church, and I say that the medium of the church, because a church, spiritualist church or otherwise, is a medium for the spirit.
yeah,
Okay. Um, you know, Spirit through the church, through the medium of the church, bring forward a way of life, but they bring forward a way of eternal life.
yeah, yeah,
And they're sort of saying, well, prepare for yourself for it now. You know, because whatever you're doing today will echo out into eternity. And
exactly.
I'm quoting one of my guides there, all right? And, you know, um, I think with modern spiritualism, I'm talking about the spiritualism that we live in now today. I think a lot of people turned off because of religious aspects, but you get somebody like me come along and say, well, we have hymns, the music of the hymns, or the pop songs, because a lot of them do pop songs now, which I
Yeah,
love.
I've
Spirit in the
noticed that.
Sky. That's my favourite. It's funny, a lot of church presidents hate that, but I love it. All right. But is if people are singing, it's raising the vibration.
Yeah,
Right? Laughter in it, because Spirit have got such a beautiful sense of humour.
yeah,
Take the Michael out of me when I'm demonstrating. Um, and laughter. it's raising the energy, because you have to raise the energy for
Yeah,
spirit to know their energy for us lot to connect. But I explain to people why we have the hymns or the songs, why we have the prayers. Prayers of thought, spirit communicating thought and emotion, blah, 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 blah. All right. But it's nothing to do with the Orthodox religions.
yeah, yeah.
No.
I'll tell you something else I learned along the way in my life, is I used to wear a cross.
Yeah.
That represented to me hope and faith and love. Yeah. And then I was probably about 2021 when I realized that I had all of that anyway, Stephen. I didn't need that symbol. I didn't need that symbol on my necklace. I had that. But some people need those crutches, do they not?
Yeah.
Try and explain to them it's okay. It's okay. You can feel, you're allowed to feel what you feel without having symbols on you. You don't, you can feel what you feel without attending these. It's really weird because in my head I've got two ideas, and I live a life of spiritualism. So I don't need to go to a church, although I often do go to these centres and churches because it fills me with love. But then I can go to a beautiful cathedral, right? And that love I feel in that building is just as beautiful as it is in my local centre. I mean, my eyes are filled with the beautiful stained glass windows and
Yeah.
the magnificence of the building. I love that, and it fills me with love and joy. But then, Stephen, I can pick up a yellow rose and feel the love and magnitude of that beautiful flower in my hand. My mother had a great way of looking at life. She said to me, "Don't ever buy me flowers. I would much rather see the flowers growing in a garden than dead in a vase in front of me." And she is so right. She's so correct on that.
Yeah.
You know.
I'll go along with that, even though I buy the white flowers. But yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I'll go along with that. But I think in my, well, I've been to the Vatican. I've been to the Sistine Chapel and that, and I couldn't feel that energy in there.
You couldn't.
I couldn't. No, perhaps it's just me. I just thought there's so much wealth in here.
Yes.
They could stop. They could sort out the world starving now.
Yeah.
You
I
know what
know.
I mean? And all and anything socially that's going on in the world, like people living in tin shacks and that, everybody can have a house,
Yeah.
or suitable accommodation. Everybody can have running water and everything like that.
Okay,
And
agree.
I was just sort of like shocked. Um, I was just shocked by the amount of wealth there. They got a solid gold Jesus and Mary in there, and it's a dirty raven thing, and it's all solid gold. And I was just shocked, in fact, disgusted by the amount of wealth that the Catholic Church has. That's not I'm not, folks. I'm not condemning your everyday Catholic in the street. That's their path of faith. There's many roads up the mountain, but there's one truth when we get to the top. All right.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
respect to you know every, the Catholics that are around that are living through their faith, but the wealth of the Catholic Church absolutely disgusts me. Spirit come along and they teach a way of life, and I think we've lost that in modern spiritualism, as we were talking about earlier, young Stacy. Let's try and bring some sparkles in here about firecrackers. Right. But all I get to see, whether I'm demonstrating in a church or whether I'm doing a mediumistic live, is the emphasis on proof of survival. The emphasis that people are desperate to get a message, no matter how many times they've had it, they're
Yeah.
desperate to get a message. And as we were saying earlier, you do different lives for different groups, but it's the same people on them.
Yeah. They jump from page to page to page, from group to group to group. And that's
Yeah.
why I had to take a step back. I mean, through COVID and everything, yeah, I was happy to give people hope and inspiration and know that things were going to get better. So that was great. But then over the course of those couple of years, I started to doubt why I should be doing it. I started thinking, this isn't right. This, I'm reading for the same people on different pages, and they're all, and I get it. You are desperate for brighter days to come. I get that. But in my private life, I don't ever ask a client to come back like a month later, a month later, a month later, a week later, a week. I'm like, you need to go and live your life and come back in a year or so, you know. So for me, watching and reading for people and doing different psychic readings and stuff, trying to mix it up, bring a different message, a different way. I exhausted myself for the same people. So I thought, no, I need to take a step back, reevaluate what I want to do and how I want to serve people. And that's why I started with Chris. I started up the 6-month workshop teaching for free every aspect of spirituality, every aspect of psychic abilities, and bringing it, and mediumship, obviously, and bringing it all together so that each person would learn to use their whole self to go forward into life and help others. I mean, we've only got another 4 weeks left of this course, but we have thoroughly enjoyed sharing the knowledge with people that are dedicated to wanting to learn and improve their lives for
That's
themselves
amazing.
and for others.
That's beautiful, Stacey. I love that. I did see you advertise it yonks ago. And I
Yeah.
thought, oh, I'd like to go in that, but
Well,
one
we're
thing
gonna
and another,
yeah. It's a long course because you've got a lot to cover. You've got a lot of things you
Oh,
have
yeah,
to
yeah.
teach. It's not a 5-minute thing. So yeah, me and Chris are going to do it once a year because it is a long course. So yeah, once a year we're going to do it. I mean, dedicating Monday nights to teaching people that want to learn stuff is
Yeah.
as a wonderful honor, and I thoroughly enjoy it. Thoroughly enjoy it.
Well, that brings me to, that's a very good point, Stacey. And that brings me to another. Why, when we've had proof of survival, and that whole journey begins, as Spirit Guide Lee says, a learning of growing, evolving, understanding, that begins once you've had your proof of survival. Why do so many people just stick there wanting proof of survival? I mean, I saw an advert with some mediums doing some private sittings at a place, and in the advert it said their one aim is to prove survival after death. I thought, well, you're proving survival to people who have had it 1,000 times over.
Yeah, yeah.
So why do you need to keep proving it?
It's weird. It's almost like an addiction because you feel that happiness and joy that you've had a connection from a loved one in spirit. Yeah, it's almost like a drug, an addiction that you want it again and again and again. It's not healthy. It's not healthy for you.
Yeah,
It's nice to have a message of evidence that there is life beyond this physical body when we pass over. It's it's beautiful, but when it becomes, you go in, you want to get another message and another message, or you're waiting to get a message from a certain relative that's passed over, and you spend dedicated years hopping from page to page hoping that Jim's going to come through and give you that message. It worries me when it takes over your life, because you're meant to be here. You're meant to be loving your partners, loving your children, loving your parents and your brothers and sisters and everybody, but instead you're focused solely on death and the messages you get from beyond the grave, when you really should be focusing on your life and how you can grow as a person and how you can serve other people and help them through their struggles in their life. So I'm desperate for people to sort of like take a step back from this need to constantly have messages. Yeah, 1 or 2 messages should be adequate enough, okay, for you to then accept that, hey, there is life beyond death, and now I need to focus on getting on with my life. And if you feel the desire to go and reach out and go to church and get another message, great, but let it be a small accessory to your life and not your whole focus point.
Yeah, I agree. And I've forgotten completely what I was going to say. That's bloody good, isn't it? But yeah, I had my proof way back in 1978, and I haven't needed any since. And like you say, if somebody wants to get that proof, they go to different churches 3 or 4 times and get that proof from 3 or 4 different mediums. Great stuff. They've tested it.
Yeah.
But after that, like Spirit Guide Lee says, that's when the journey begins. And my guides for X amount of years have been telling me to tell people spiritualism is not about death, it's about life.
Yes.
All life in all its forms, in all eternity. And that is what we need to become open and aware to with our hearts, with our minds, and through our action, through the practice of love in whichever form it takes. You know, I think proving survival, this may seem controversial, but I think proving survival all the time keeps people in grief. And, and they desperately want to hear that person. I was serving fleet the other week, and this person wouldn't take the communicator. I'm saying it's your father-in-law, it's sitting next to you, blah, blah, blah. I just go, no, no, no. Giving descriptions, giving it, no, no, no. And then my guide said to me, do you want somebody else? Not this. And I said, listen, I don't dictate who comes through. All right. And, this gentleman has decided to come through. And she went, yeah, okay, it's my father-in-law. She wanted her husband. So she was going to say no to everything else because it was.
That's heartbreaking in itself, because
It
he's
is,
made the
yeah.
effort. He's made the effort to communicate with you, to pass on a message that she needs to hear. At this specific time in her life, she needed to hear what he had to say. But in her desperation for wanting the other person, she's caused, like, for you as the worker medium, that must have been awful, Stephen, to have to stand there and kind of roll out more and more and more evidence because of her stubbornness.
Yeah, that's right. But I'm sort of one of the old brigade, you know what I mean? And once she accepted that she was going to get a message from her father-in-law, all right, and that her husband wasn't communicating, she took the advice that he gave. He was describing her life as it was now.
Good.
All right. And she burst into tears. Yes, that's right. And she can't thank me afterwards. But as a medium standing there in front of, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 people.
Yeah.
All right. No, no, no. Like that. All right. It makes you feel small and stupid.
You should never
Okay.
feel small and stupid, because
Yeah.
you're
And there's other people sitting there, but it's just the other people are sitting there going, well,
he's no good. He's no good. He's
so
getting it wrong.
they automatically start switching off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
she was the first message, and I'm always saying to people, the first message is important, platform wise. If it hits home, and yes, and lovely, people are pricking their ears up, people are listening, people are open to having a message.
Yeah.
Okay, but I do thoroughly realise that there are those that go to spiritualist churches or online. Or on lives, they just want to hear from one specific person. And they will just come up with all the notes and all the rest of it because somebody else is communicating. Now, the way I work with Spirit, Stacy, and I was taught this from Spirit Guide Lead, give enough evidence so the person who's receiving the message know who's communicating. That's as far as you need to go with it.
Yeah.
The rest of the message, because that spirit communicator can see that they're having problems in their lives,
Yep.
whatever, all right, or physical or mental health problems, wants to help advise, wants to push
Yeah.
them in the right direction. So give the space for that message.
Yeah.
So, I'll say, like, I've got granddad here, he was in the Navy, and he had a walking stick, and he used to go down the Dog and Duck every Sunday and have 1 pint. All right. Yeah, evidence. Yeah, I can understand that. Or like the other night on a live, this bloke had given up smoking, but he kept a roll up on him. So he had the choice to smoke or not. But psychologically, it's his way of giving up. All right. And that was lovely evidence. But after that, he is now saying, this is happening with you in your life. You're not well, this, that, and the other. This is how, seek the help that you need. And all the rest of it. That to me is more mediumship than anything else. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Because you're allowing spirit to give the help and the love that they want to give.
Yeah.
I said to one medium who's banging on about evidence all the time, I said, you cannot dictate what spirit are going to say. Evidence is valuable so that the recipient of the message knows who's communicating with them. After that, please allow spirit to come and say whatever they want to say, even if they're just bringing back a memory, or even if they just want to
Yeah.
come and say hello. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Allow them
Yeah.
to do it. Or like say, we can see this going on in your life. That's really not the way to go. Why don't you choose this way? And
Yeah.
it's usually a different way of thinking and feeling that they give, and do it that way. All right.
Yeah.
That to me is expressing the divine will of the Great Spirit, as Silverbird would say. You know what I mean? Because we're actually trying to bring healing in. We're trying to bring comfort in.
Yeah.
No amount of evidence will take that grief away.
No. No.
That is why on these lives, and sometimes at the church, I read my poem out far away. And that was inspired by Spirit Guide Lee, who said basically, yes, he said grief is selfish,
It is.
all right? Because while we're there pining for our loved ones and wanting them here on earth with us and missing all the little things they did for us, we're sort of like holding them back from their eternal journey.
Yeah.
Accepted as physical beings in a world of matter that we need to have a period of mourning. He's saying that's fine, but don't make it forever.
Yeah.
Let them go with love. Right.
Yeah.
And that's that poem Far Away is all about letting our loved ones go with love. Realise that they are all on a journey. And because they're not here in the physical, they are far away.
Yeah.
But also what we should teach you. What do you think about this, Stacy? I've got to climb off my soapbox now. But we should be teaching about this connection that we have. Yes, they're not here in the physical. Yes, we can't pop round and see them and have a cup of tea with them, but we can pray for them. We can think about them. We can talk within our own minds.
They
Okay.
hear our thoughts.
Yeah, exactly. That was my next point. All thoughts are heard.
Yeah. They're all the
Right, so
thoughts
talk to
are
them in
heard.
your mind. Hello,
Yeah.
dad. Hello, mum. Hello, uncle. Hello, the
Yeah.
bloke you used to work with, whatever. What do you think of this then? This is going on. That's going on. Or are you proud of me? Because the
Yeah.
amount of message, I don't know about you, but the amount of message I've given over the years, which says so and so's here, blah blah blah, evidence, and then blah blah blah. He says he's proud of you because of the way of this one situation and how you've overcome it, because you've asked that question.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it proves the connection. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Right. What's Sarah McGeechee saying? All right, I'll give somebody else a chance to put their all in. Right. Sarah McGeechee, who's a lovely little medium herself. I say to Spirit, okay, now is your chance to say what you need. I'll be your mouth. Tell me what to say. Would you like someone to ask your height, hair, colour, etc. when you have just one chance to say, hang on, I've got to see more on that one. It's not there. what you need to say. Well, that's all very evidential, Sarah. You know, their height, the colour of their hair, the colour of their eyes, their middle name. All right. Um, you know, that's all very evidential. Okay. As I've said previously, I'll give that information, whatever I want to say. I usually say they were told they had blonde wavy hair, you know, had a big nose and all that. This is what they did for a living. You know, this is what they like to do in their own time. This was their personality. This was the essence of their being. That's all very evidential. But what do they actually want to say?
Yeah.
This is my point.
Yeah.
You're proving that to the recipient that they're there with them. Now give them a chance to message. Because if I was a spirit trying to come through a medium, I'd get very frustrated if that medium was just trying to prove my survival all the time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm desperate to say, look, you've been a bit of an idiot here. Think about it like this. Think about it like that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? This behaviour is bad for you. You
Yeah.
know, and you know, or it lead to this way, or lead to that way. You know, okay. She says that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, but we should always give spirit the opportunity, apart from the evidence, is to say what they want to say.
Because it's important, because it takes a lot of energy to step forward, find the right medium to give the right message to the person in, the sitter. And that's what they do on the other side. Spirit finds the right medium to give the right message at the right time.
No, yeah, I agree
If
with
you're
that.
if you're not the way I work is totally different to the way you work, which is totally different to the way Sarah works. One of us will be the better person to give the
Yeah,
better message to a sitter. So these people that sit there and go, I just want to hear from my mum. I just want to hear from my sister. Wait, because time doesn't exist in spirit, right? It's man-made. We are on a planet that goes around the sun. Okay, so time does not exist in spirit, but when you do get your mum step forward, know that she will step forward after she has selected the right person to give her message to you. And so patience is really needed if you desire so desperately that message, because there would be nothing worse than your mum in spirit picking the wrong person who kind of delivers messages in the wrong way for you. So that's why I believe in divine timing. Everything happens at the right time for the right reason. And that,
sorry, go on.
no, just that I get how hungry people are for these messages from a specific person. But for me, I've learned over the years, I don't mind if it's my uncle or my granddad or my son that comes through, because I'm going to listen to what they have to say, the advice they give me, because that is the most important thing.
I agree. I agree. Proof of survival has its place, but just purely for recognition, nothing more. The one experience I've had like spirit will choose the medium, and I agree with that, and 100%. But the one experience I could call to mind that really proves that point was I was serving Swindon Christian Spiritualist Church of Denning Street one night, and there was this lady there. I've given her 3 or 4 messages before, and I gave her a message from this young lady, and she burst into tears. And she come up to me afterwards and she said, sorry for crying. I said, no, it's all part of it. I'm glad that message touched your heart. Well, it was. Her daughter had died when she was 19 years old. Okay. And she had been coming to the spiritualist church, apart from holidays, or when the church was shut, religiously for 18, 19 years to get a message from her daughter. Okay. And for some reason, the daughter chose me to give that message.
What an honour.
And I'm so honoured. I was sort of like, wow, floated out of that church afterwards. You know what I mean? Or like sometimes, I don't know if you've experienced it, is, sometimes you'll get, I've waited years to hear from that person. I think they've just waited for you to come along, because of your level of understanding the way
Yeah,
you give the message, because it's got to be
yeah,
given with compassion. It's got to
yeah,
be, the actual intention has got to be upliftment, healing, comfort,
yeah,
rather than proof of survival. Okay. But proof of survival being part of it, but the intention has got to be healing, comfort, upliftment. Okay. Um, so it's times like that are very, very special. And I agree 100%. They will wait for the right channel to come along before I give that message, even if it takes years.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And I was
yeah,
honoured that she chose me to give that message. Right, Sarah McGeechee is saying, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. People are desperate to hear from a certain person and are closed off to anyone else coming through, but that's not always possible. Yeah, it's not always possible. I agree, Sarah. You know what I mean? But I always explain, especially when my guy's sitting there waiting to hear from somebody else, that I don't decide who's coming through, but they're making a big effort to come through because people don't really realise what's involved with spirit communication. I have to raise my energy and vibration. They have to create the power and the energy and lower their vibration to come through so we can connect in the middle.
yeah,
So there's a lot of work that goes in with spirit communication. And I always say, please hear this person out because they're making a massive effort to get through me.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And you know, so yes, it's not Uncle Tom Cobley, but I've got them here. Do you understand who they are? 9 times out of 10, yes, they do. After 5 minutes of saying no. All right. Okay. It's difficult for a medium in that way. It's difficult, but you've got to learn ways around it, especially with
yeah,
public demonstration. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like I said, they start being, oh, he's no good, or she's no good. And they start closing off to you, and then it's uphill all the way. You know what I mean? But that's public demonstration. But please, whether it's not your desired person to come through, or it's a spirit guide, because spirit guides have your best interests at heart, or whether it's somebody you can't remember or don't know, they are making a massive effort to come through and they want to uplift, heal, and comfort you. So please give them the space, give them the floor. All right. And I think that's enough, don't you?
I, I agree. I agree.
And I think, I really enjoyed today. And I think we both, as always, Stacy, and I think we both sort of got on our soapboxes a bit.
Yeah,
But just to reiterate, I think as spiritualists, we should start practicing the way of life that spirit teach. All right, not religion. As always, I'm going to play. There's been a lot of synchronicity today with some of the things that you've mentioned. Um, you know, um, about the life in spirit, about with Silver Birch, with the prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi, with the other NDEs that I watched, seeing their life review and feeling everything feeling, what they put on other people through their words, through their actions. There's been a lot of synchronicity, and I love that, and it shows to me that it's aligned in its own little way. And, we're giving a message. There's only been 2 people watching, but it don't matter if there's hundreds or just 1 or 2. You know what I mean? That message is going out there. I'm going to play one of my latest poems, and it's called "Ode to Life." Okay, and it's in my own voice because people were bleating, use your own voice. So I've used my own voice, and so you've got a geezer from Slough reading one of his poems, and here we go. Right, it's called "Ode to Life." Bless you all. Ode to Life. We brothers and sisters who travel this mortal path on the journey toward death. Be not lost in our troubles, for life on earth is a moment. in the vastness of eternity. Do our troubles matter when death is our end? Life, with all its tragedies, trials, and sadness, is our benevolent teacher. Do not allow the spirit to become sick, no matter our burdens. We must be employed in the practice of love for self and all brothers and sisters who share our path. They too can impact our life with love. Let us open our being to the power of love within, to understand the purpose of mortal life. Let love be our guide. A poem by Stephen Rowlands.
Beautiful.
And Spirit told me to read that poem. Ode to Life. Hang on, sorry. We brothers and sisters, right, who travel this mortal path. Shut up, Stephen. Right. Right, okay, right. I was talking about synchronicity just now. Spirit told me to read that poem, to do that poem before we came on. And I think it encompasses sort of what we've been talking about.
Definitely.
Yeah,
and I like the bit. I truly like the bit about not allowing your spirit to become sick.
Yeah.
You know, because we can get burdened with depression and hurt and pain, but know that there is a lesson in everything for a reason. You know, deal with the trauma, go for the healing, let go of that pain. I often tell people, Stephen, that imagine yourself on a boat going down the river, and if you've got worries and troubles, imagine putting them in one at a time in red silk bags and tying the bags up and chucking them over the side of the water into for me, it's about offloading your pain and your suffering and letting the universe take that burden for you. So, you know, try to do some mindfulness when you're living your life, you know, because you are number one and your health needs to be 100%. You need to work on yourself in order to give love to others. Spirit have been drawing me to say in the press that, you know, whatever we're facing in life, what is the most loving, kind, compassionate, forgiving solution to the problem? Yeah. Not only for those around us, but for ourselves as well. Yeah. You know, Maggie Davis has been listening. She just popped up. I hope you've enjoyed today, Maggie. I know I have. All right. And it's been a great pleasure to have the lovely Sparkles on with me today. I'm going to invite you both on next time. Lovely. All right, you and Chris. Yep. And talk more about this course you're doing. All right. Because as I've said, I think that's all sadly missing. It's all, can they prove survival? No matter how many times you've proven it. Yeah. You know what I mean? You, like I say, you can give 99 services where everybody's clapping and cheering. And you do one that's a bit ropey, and they remember that one. You know what I mean? And yeah, Maggie said she's enjoyed it. So thanks, Maggie. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Laurie, for coming on with us. And I'll be in touch at another time to get you and Chris on. Lovely. Right. Thank you. I've enjoyed today. Thank you so much. Yeah, me too. God bless you. Right. Take care. Enjoy your Take care. God bless. Bye. Bye.